Holstein America is sponsored by Merck Animal Health, an industry leader in dairy care solutions, and the makers of Vista Vaccines. Visit thebestdefense.com to learn more.
It's a place that represents the best of America. It's farms, families, and friends. It's hometowns and quiet places. And it's producing nutritious dairy products that make life better for people around the world. None of this would be possible without U.S. registered Holsteins, the world's perfect cow, and the people who raise them.
There's nothing like growing up on a dairy farm. It's something I wouldn't change for the world.
We're a Holstein family. We've been working with the Holstein breed for over 100 years.
There's no cow that can produce milk like a registered Holstein cow. It's the #1 breed of the dairy industry.
This is Holstein America. Hi, I'm Michelle Davidson. The world's most iconic animal is the Holstein cow. Before most of us even learned to read, we recognized her black and white spots. She's the inspiration for children's books, advertising, television, and movies. And behind all this attention is an important story, one that's contributed to our well-being for thousands of years. Nature's perfect drink, milk. Holsteins produce more than 90% of all milk in the United States today. A perfect picture of quality and efficiency. In the next hour, we'll share stories of the people and families who raise this great breed of cattle. And we'll explore the programs offered by Holstein Association USA, the world's largest dairy breed organization. Our story begins with milk, real milk, not something derived from nuts or beans, and why real milk from cows provides essential nutrients for people everywhere.
It's clear that the most remarkable system of nourishment in history is lactation. This remarkable idea of the mother-infant pair, the mother dissolving herself to make a complete and comprehensive diet for her infant. And understanding how that works is providing us the means to understand how diet works for all of us. Milk feeds the baby, and it feeds selective bacteria in the baby, so that, in essence, microbiological community that we all eventually end up with is started in a very supportive way by milk. What an idea. The genius of humans 10,000 years ago of domesticating cows and using milk as a dietary choice was one of the most remarkable ideas in human history. The idea of domesticating cows and making milk available came about in 4 places in the world. 2 in North Africa, 1 in West India, and Northern Europe. And in each of those 4 places, there's an interesting effect on the populations. They're basically today dominated by people who have a rare mutation. That mutation is the ability to continue to digest lactose throughout their entire lives. Normally, mammals lose the lactase enzyme at weaning. But in these 4 places where, in essence, cow's milk became part of the diet, the people who survive today all have this rare mutation. What that means is, if you didn't have that mutation, if you couldn't digest lactose as an adult, you're gone from the gene pool. You have no descendants. Milk literally saved those people. In looking at milk and its role in health, you can use various scientific tools, and one of them is epidemiology. You look at a population, examine its behaviors, its diet, and then look at outcomes. And Peter Elwood in the United Kingdom is an epidemiologist, and he examined in the United Kingdom populations that consume dairy products and compared them to populations who didn't consume dairy products. And he asked a simple question, right? What did they die of? And of course, he expected that he would find that consuming dairy products increased the risk of dying of heart disease. What he found was exactly the opposite. The populations who consumed dairy products were less likely to die of heart disease. They were less likely to die of stroke. They were less likely to die of various cancers. They were less likely to die of diabetes. It was a remarkable, in essence, testament to the decision to consume dairy products was actually increasing the lifespan, the quality of life, and the performance of these people. So what we're realizing is that milk really helps babies. but milk can teach us how to eat the rest of our lives. And one of the most successful dietary components throughout human history has been dairy products, and continues to be true today. So one of the things that as scientists we've been asking is why is it that milk, while providing all these benefits to infants and to the history of humans, is it so undervalued today? We realize there are two things. One is we typically don't study health. Scientifically, we study diseases, and we examine virtually everything that, in essence, we think of as a candidate as a potential therapeutic drug. And not surprisingly, in that context, milk of any kind doesn't cure many diseases. But the more we take it apart and look at its actions, we realize it's actually working to prevent diseases and literally stop them from starting in the first place. So milk has a variety of components and mechanisms of action, targets on which it acts, that genuinely improve your health and lower your risk of disease. And as we take charge of our own health, the value of things that improve our health will go up. And the single most valuable component in the food supply is milk. And the dairy industry can begin first by recognizing we have the most valuable health food there ever was. And they also need to begin to literally invest in that future. The greater we, in essence, want to improve our health, the more valuable dairy will become.
A cold glass of milk like this one is the most nutritious natural protein drink on earth. One that you can be proud to pour for yourself and your family. The registered Holstein also produces more total pounds of butterfat and protein than any other breed of dairy cattle, which makes them ideal for cheese production. The Fiscalini family in California knows this well. They've built one of America's most successful cheese brands while raising their herd of registered Holsteins.
Fiscalini Farms was founded in 1914 by my great-grandfather with 12 Holstein dairy cows, and each generation has put their spin on, what it is today. Today we're here milking 1,500 cows 3 times a day and making artisan cheese.
My whole family's in the cheese making business. I'm a 5th generation cheesemaker. So I was 10 years old, started making ricotta and all kinds of Italian type cheeses. Cheese making is not an easy job. You gotta really love what you're doing. And if you get to create something with your hands and people enjoy what you made, that's the passion that drives me to make a good product.
So in the year 2000, my father, John, decided to start the cheese business. There was a sense of pride there that he wanted to make sure he knew exactly where our milk or cheese was on the shelf at the grocery store. So now that we have a branded product, with our name on it, we know that the milk from our cows was the only milk that went into that product. And that's all done right here on site.
When we get the milk, it's less than 24 hours, like we use it right away. So it's like the freshest milk that possible. We have that advantage of knowing what we're feeding the cows and what outcome would come, because we focus a lot, on the butter fats, the proteins, to get the highest quality milk possible. And with the highest quality milk, you can get the highest quality cheese.
We're a Holstein family. We've been working with the Holstein breed for over 100 years. Every single animal in our herd is registered. It's really important to know the bloodlines of the cattle that we have. It lets us know where we came from, and it also lets us know where we're going. One of the really important things about the Holstein breed that we love is the variety of the genetics. Through genetics, our Holsteins have a very high butterfat production, a good solid protein production, and they produce a volume of milk that no other breed can do. Farming is it's an aspect of society that I don't know that we can live without. Farming has been around forever in one way, shape, or form. It's definitely evolved. We're able to produce more food now with less resources than we ever have in the history of the world. There's a lot of distance, not only geographically, but also conceptually, between agriculture and consumers these days. So what we really like to do is we try to bridge that gap. We try to bring them out here show them what we do, let them see the cows, let them see the feed, so that they have faith in dairy farmers and that they have faith that the products that we're producing are healthy and nutritious and safe. What a lot of people forget about is our products are delicious. I mean, we've got cheese and we've got butter and we've got ice cream and then we got a cold glass of milk on a warm day. It's really hard to beat some of the products that we make.
This is a neat little wheel. These have about 35 pounds. And this cheese is about 2 weeks old. It already has a nice firmness to it, but these cultures have, they'll just mature over time. We tested throughout its aging life to get it where we want to get it. We decided that about a year is where we want it to be. One way to always explain it, a young wine compared to a very mature wine, you can definitely taste the more mature, the more smoothness you get, your more distinct flavors. The same with making cheese.
Because we have our dairy farm and our cheese plant here on the same property, and it's very nice for us because we do have complete control over the feed that the cows consume. Our nutritionist works with us very, very closely in balancing the diet so that we can make a high component milk so that our cheese yield is going to be as high as it can, and that we're also going to have a very clean source of milk so that the starter cultures that we use to make cheese react the right way and that we just have the best quality cheese that we can. In my opinion, I think that the Holstein is the best dairy cow because of the variety and the history that we have. It is the largest by number breed of dairy cattle in the world. The variety of the genetics, the different cow families, and the excellent dairy farmers that have had the Holstein breed as a part of their operation for over 100 years has really led to the Holstein breed still being the best breed.
When we return, we'll bring you one of the great stories and great cows in the dairy business today.
Holstein America is brought to you by our friends at Merck Animal Health, the makers of Vista and the leading provider of dairy care solutions. Visit dairycare365.com for support, tips, and products to provide your herd with the best possible care.
Registered Holsteins today represent a great legacy. For more than 130 years, farmers have registered and identified their cattle with Holstein Association USA. The official registration adds value, creates opportunity, and not only tells the story of an animal's past, but also has the potential to write a dairy's future. Take, for instance, this story from Wisconsin.
I guess I'll tell you the story where we got to where we are today with our favorite Holsteins. So I've been doing this for 40 years. I did not grow up on a registered Holstein farm. I was very much inspired by Holstein breeders and the passion they had for their cattle, and I found it kind of contagious. That's what I decided to do when I got out of high school. I started buying registered cattle, went out on my own, started farming. I was just so excited to have a registered cow. The first one I bought that had a piece of paper that said she was a registered cow and I owned her. I guess I made the right choice because I feel like I've never worked a day in my life. When you love what you do, it doesn't seem like work. There were lots of days, I'm sure, that were bad days, but the next day you forgot about them. My son got a dairy science degree. I guess I never really thought he'd come home to farm. I never encouraged, never discouraged. In the end, he decided he had the same passion for the registered Holstein business that I had. He came home and wanted to farm.
Genetics to me was always the really fun part of all this. There's a wide variety of things in this industry. It's what kind of makes registered Holsteins unique. There's not one way to do something. We always liked cows with high, wide rear udders, tall dairy cows that can make a lot of milk, bigger cows. So we kind of went with what was going to make us happy. And we stumbled into something that has helped us out a tremendous amount. We got very lucky.
We had a cow that I couldn't walk away from. Her name was Unlimited. We thought it was just a beautiful calf. We genomic tested, not really thinking nothing of it. In fact, to be honest, we don't even know why we genomic tested it. And we still, to this day, don't know who's really made that decision, whether it was my son or I. But I remember the day when the results came back. My son put a bunch of them on my desk, said, boy, that's really high in type. And we didn't follow that close enough that we looked at it, boy, that does seem high, but we had no idea where she ranked or, where this put her. We just knew it was kind of a high number, well, tomorrow we'll have to look into it, see where it is. Well, when we looked into it, she was the #1 Holstein in the world for type. And to be honest, second wasn't even very close. And we were like, holy cow, now you go out and look at this little calf in the hutches. Genomics says she's the #1 type Holstein in the world. She's got a lot to live up to. And us, we were a little nervous, like, what if we screw it up, Today, I'm proud to say, I think she's totally lived up to her genomic prediction. I would guess to say that genetics from this farm are in every state in the United States and every country of the world, and that's as big an impact as you're going to make. And could we do better? Yes, there's always better. That's one thing about this business. It's one of the things that makes it interesting. No matter how good you do, you can always do better.
My hope for the future is that we can figure out a way to kind of keep this going. A lot of what we do depends on us being at least somewhat relevant and be able to sell some animals for some decent money, which means that we have to figure out ways to kind of help us bridge into the future. We're part of Holstein Complete. We use their classification service. I think that's a tremendous, especially for what we do and the high type end of everything. It helps to solidify what our animals have on paper with what they actually are in person. I think that's a big deal.
One thing I've done a lot of is get off this farm and go see other farms and see other people's cattle and talk to other breeders. And there's a lot of different ways to breed cattle. I can appreciate all the directions different people are going. There's many breeders that have inspired me. I guess we've made the decision we are going to stay a small dairy. Our challenge will be trying to be profitable enough staying as a small dairy and not growing. Last year, just about 2/3 of the income from this farm came from sale other than milk. If we can keep that up, we can stay a small farm. But that's kind of our story. An unlimited one cow has kept this farm going. I didn't retire, he didn't go back to school. We're both still here farming, and we will do it as long as we can make it work.
If you'd like to tap into the power of some of the great cow families in the Holstein breed, visit Holstein Marketplace Sires at holsteinusa.com. Holstein Marketplace Sires connects breeders with top-quality Holstein sires, delivering more choices and greater variety in the genetic marketplace. Another way Holstein Association USA helps the dairy industry remain on the cutting edge is with Agritech Analytics. Located in California's Central Valley, ATA currently processes dairy records on more than 900,000 cows, converting data into useful information for dairies nationwide.
Agritech Analytics is a dairy records processing center that's part of the Dairy Herd Improvement Network within the United States. Our office is located in Visalia, California. When people think California, they think about Hollywood, they think of the Bay Area. The reality is that 15% of the cows in the U.S. are located between Bakersfield and Sacramento in what's known here as the San Joaquin Valley. And most of those cows are within 20 miles one way or the other of Highway 99, which is 3 exits down from our doorstep here. So we're out there in the dairy industry every day. The core business is processing of the records. So we need to receive the input from the different DHI laboratories, field service providers, etc. We take all of that information in, turn it out into useful information for that producers can use to manage their dairy. And then on the back side, we're sending that information off to Council on Dairy Cattle Breeding, so it's incorporated into the U.S. genetic evaluations. We also send records directly to the Breed Association for inclusion in pedigree. So there's a lot of different things that go on with the data. And basically, our role here is to try to provide information so that a producer can better manage his dairy herd.
Our cow records have ran through Agritech for about 40 years. We test every month for milk weights, components, and somatic cell count. The testing process is pretty simple. Basically at the same time every month, the testers come out and install the meters in the barn before they start milking. The samples are ran through the DHI lab overnight, and by midday the next day, Agritech's already processed our herd and it's ready to download back in to the Dairy Comp 305 here on the dairy.
Production data is important to the industry for a number of reasons. I think the very first thing, if we look at it on the farm level, pounds of milk produced is directly related to income. That's important so that our clients continue to exist and stay in business. From a bigger scale though, I think as we look at what we're really all about is trying to have efficient milk production. The high producing cow has the lowest carbon footprint per unit of dairy product provided. In other words, a pound of cheese from a 30,000 pound of milk production cow is going to have a lower carbon footprint than one at 15,000. And it's basically tied into maintenance requirements of the animal. So we're trying to do our part to keep our clients in business and keep things as sustainable and environmentally friendly as we possibly can. When I was 10 years old, I was the person sketching calves for the registration papers that would go to Holstein Association USA, which is kind of interesting that now that I'm working for that organization, is heading up their division. So it's not a job, okay? It's what I do, okay? It's part of me, all right? I mean, I don't wake up in the morning and think, oh man, I gotta go to work. It's like my mind's already rolling as to, you know, what are those next topics we're talking about and all that kind of stuff. The key is that we've got all the oars in the water pulling the same way, and it takes a team to get it done.
On a monthly basis, I get the emails come from Meg to let me know like what reports are ready, and Teresa is the one that processes our herd virtually every month, and so I'll get the message from her the day after test day that the download's ready to receive. So yeah, we have a good working relationship.
The herd review gives us an opportunity to compare the data from the last test to the current test. So I'm going to release this, and now it's going to form reports. To obtain the data from the website, those reports are available to them within just a few moments after processing.
It varies from day to day how many animals that I'm working with, but for the most part, I would say we'd process about 30-40 herds a day, and so over the course of a month, it could be 500,000 cows.
We believe that the benefits of processing at Agritech outweigh what it costs. We feel like we get a value for what we pay there. Having our monthly data from Agritech has helped us pick and choose what avenues we take to be the best stewards of what we have here.
If you're interested in learning more about Agritech analytics, visit agritech.com. Coming up next, a Texas town that embodies more of what the dairy industry has to offer.
This program is broadcast with support from Merck Animal Health. Trust in Vista vaccines for the most complete, longest-lasting respiratory protection for your dairy. And one-dose fetal protection for your cow herd. Learn more at thebestdefense.com.
Welcome back. When you think about Texas, cowboy boots, cattle drives, and Stetsons may come to mind, but it's also one of America's top dairy states and produces more than 10 billion pounds of milk each year. In a small town in North Texas, 2 dairy farms are making use of registered Holsteins to improve production and efficiency and serve as good neighbors for their community.
Textine Dairy was founded by my father, Robert Steinberger Sr. He started this farm in 1959. Started out with grade Holsteins, and over the 60s and 70s, he transitioned into registered Holsteins. My dad started with a small flat parlor and went into a herringbone after that, and now we milk in a double 16 parallel. And today we're sitting here with right at 1,000 mature Holstein cows that are 100% registered at Textine Dairy. Our farm pretty much operates around the clock. We milk 2 times a day, and it takes us about 8 to 9 hours to get through a full milking. We take care of the feeding, raising calves. It's a great way to raise a family, and we're real proud of what we built here in Windthorst, Texas. This town is built on faith. I mean, it was established by German settlers back in the late 1800s. First thing they built was the church on the hill, and the church has been the center of this community. And the cow in the middle of town, that's your old school social media right there at work for you. We've got heifers eating right across the fence from the high school softball field. When we're mowing it, we'll find a baseball every now and then, so kind of a neat deal. We try to make sure these heifers have plenty to eat 24 hours a day. So if they get tired of grazing out on the grass, they come up here and have all they want at the buffet lunch right here. 25 years ago, if we had a very good 2-year-old, man, it was a big thing to have an 85.2-year-old. And now, with the progress that the dairy industry has made in genetics, it's amazing when you travel across the community here in Windthorst to see the quality of animals. And a lot of that has to do with the advancements in the genetics of the Holstein breed. And that's, you know, that's your breeders and that's the Holstein Association all together that's helped make that possible. One of the neatest things that we use from Holstein Association is the Easy ID. We register everything online, and man, that was a big change. I can register 50 to 100 calves in a matter of 10 to 15 minutes on the computer, and it works fantastic. And it's just something that we feel is important to us, to have some identification on the cows and to have that paper and to know the history of that animal, where she came from. And I think it helps in our mating decisions too. We can go back several generations to help us in our decision making on how we mate the next generations of animals. Everything is artificially inseminated, and we have a strict mating protocol. And we'd like to produce both kinds of cows, just the high type cows that excel in the show ring and the cows that are going to live and last for a long time and produce lots of milk. I think the registered Holstein is a great animal. It's amazing what a Holstein can do. It can take just a little bit of grain and hay and produce a product that America wants. Not only that, the Holstein does it efficiently. We're seeing 30,000 pound herds in the state of Texas, and that was just kind of unthought of 20 years ago. And I think you're only going to see that number get higher and higher. We're fortunate to live where we live, and we're fortunate to be in the dairy business. Challenges get thrown our way all the time, but the American dairyman, he's a tough guy, and he learns to battle those challenges. You know, I'm just proud to produce a great product for the American consumer.
Mom and Dad got married in '53 and started dairying, and then there's 6 boys in my family. I'm the youngest, and when my oldest brother got into 4-H in the early '60s, Dad bought his first registered heifer, and been doing it ever since. And I've always just really liked the dairying part of it and Holstein cattle. Here at Hoffield Dairy, got roughly about 300 acres here on my place, and I milk about 240 head year-round, and still got an old herringbone parlor, 8 that got the weigh jars, 8 weigh jars, swing back and forth the milkers from side to side. And a lot of people, oh, you still got weigh jars in there, but I like to see what the cows give every day. And in the earlier years when the kids was still at home, all 3 of the kids, you know, worked at the dairy every day, and it was always exciting when one of the kids, oh boy, so-and-so cow give, you know, 60 or 70 pounds today. Right here in Windthorst is just a little German community, and everybody's kin to everybody, I think, it seemed like anyway. And everybody's involved in dairying, so when you go have a get-together or something, that's usually the first conversations is something about the dairying, and everybody just kind of competed, you know. It was friendly competition, you know, see who could do this and that. And we used to host a sale or 2 here. At one time there were 74 dairies here in Windthorst. Now there's about half of that many, but it's kind of interesting to see how it all evolved, you know, from the first dairy or 2 that I guess started here 100 and something years ago. You got to have a passion for dairying. It's not the easiest job. You can't tell the cows, hey, we're gonna take off today. And like I said, I've always enjoyed the benefits of genetics and seeing what comes of your work. I always told kids growing up, you do it the best you can and it'll pay off in the future. You know, kids have grew up learning that hard work pays off. Back when I was probably a freshman, sophomore in the early '80s, one of the national convention sales. About halfway through the sale, you know, there wasn't no way we was going to afford the top end or anything. And Dad said, heck, go out there and look and see if there's anything out there that you really like. And there was an old elevation cow that was dry at the time. And I thought, well, she's, you know, we could move her during the summer when she was dry and wouldn't be stressed. And she ended up being All-American, and she ended up scoring an excellent 93 points. And she was probably one of the funner cows I had around. And then a lot of the cattle that went through my dad's sale that ended up going 13 states went on. There's still people talk about, oh yeah, my dad bought, you know, such and such cow in your dad's sale, and boy, we sure got some good cattle out of them. And you know, it's always rewarding when you get to hear stuff like that from other breeders across the U.S. that you had an impact in some of those herds. Having registered cattle and being able to go to the shows and stuff has helped get to knowing a lot of people. And then I do a lot of judging. I'm on the Holstein Association's national judging list. And then I sell a lot of calves to 4-H and FFA kids across the state. I always enjoyed working with the younger generation any way I can. I just like to see dairying carrying on, and I guess I had a lot of people that helped me out when I was growing up, so I like trying to help the next generation so, you know, they'll be able to have a future in the dairy business too.
Holstein America will be back after this informational segment from Merck Animal Health.
We're at Warmka Holsteins in Fox Lake, Wisconsin. I'm the third generation on this family farm. I'm the oldest of 4 kids. I'm the herdsman here at Warmka Holsteins. We currently milk 450 cows with about 520 total cows, including the dry cows. We're just over 28,000 yearling herd average. It's the team effort, not just one person. It's really a blessing to be in the dairy land.
Today, Eric and I were working in the barn. We are a husband and wife team from that perspective.
Working with my wife is definitely rewarding. It's fun to be able to spend more time with her and spend time in the barn with each other.
So I became a veterinarian in 2014, graduated from the University of Minnesota, and I wanted to do cow medicine. I helped develop the protocols for vaccination as well as any treatments that need to be done on the farm. Today we did give calves that were born overnight some vaccines, once PMH. Intranasal is our primary vaccine as well as the coronavirus vaccine. If we can keep healthy events down when they're a baby calf within that first 90 days, then we can maximize their milk production, and then they're usually less likely to have metabolic issues right when they calve in for the first time. And then in the fresh cow pen, we are also giving Vista 5L5 because they are right in that 30 to 35 day mark, and that will get them across the next lactation. When we were actually talking about a whole herd coverage, you get the most bang for your buck out of a modified live vaccine. So we start when they're younger with 3 doses, and with those 3 doses, they should be protected up until they start lactating with their first calving, which is huge. There's a long duration of coverage with the product, so we don't have to reboost after that pre-breeding shot as a heifer.
The Vista line has helped us create healthy animals from day one, and a healthy animal from day one creates a very profitable, healthy cow.
So if we have the right vaccines through the right company, which is our Vista line, then I know from the bacterial pneumonia side, from the viral pneumonia, from the reproductive, that we are completely covered from end to end, and there's no holes in our program. When a cow actually calves in for the first time, she's gonna milk the 100 pounds that we want, she's gonna be low in somatic cell, and she's gonna take off like a champ.
Holstein America is sponsored by Merck Animal Health, an industry leader in dairy care solutions, and the makers of Vista vaccines. Visit thebestdefense.com to learn more.
Welcome back. You might be surprised to learn that in addition to quality milk, registered Holsteins also produce some of the highest quality beef available. A major headline this year is the release of Holstein, the branded beef program offered by Holstein Association USA and American Simmental Association. The collaborative effort is the first of its kind in the history of agriculture and promises to reshape beef on dairy opportunities for the nation's farmers and ranchers. Miles Ramsey shares the story.
The U.S. dairy industry is at a time of transition. Farmers are looking to new business opportunities in order to remain sustainable. One trend is a growing number of dairy farmers who are breeding portions of their herd to beef cattle.
At the Holstein Association, one of the things that we strive to do is to provide our members with opportunity to be more profitable. And through breeding some of their herd to beef bulls, the right beef bulls, we could potentially have them have a new profit center on their dairy farm.
And now, for the first time, Holstein producers have a resource when determining what beef bulls might work best on their dairy cows. It's called Wholesome, a collaborative effort between Holstein Association USA and the American Simmental Association. Wholesome identifies elite Sim Angus bulls with production attributes specifically matched to Holstein cows.
We're all aware of some of the serious economic pressures that the dairy producers face at this point in time. And so all we're trying to do is take the same approach that dairy producers and Holstein members specifically are used to, and that's taking the best tools available at that point in time and apply them to a profit portion of their business.
The Wholesome program, launched this spring, provides a list of wholesome bulls that Holstein producers can easily identify from their semen provider.
What's really unique about this program is that this is the first time that there has ever been an index that has been established to be complementary to both a beef breed and a dairy breed.
Through the International Genetic Solutions platform, we took an effort to take a breed-agnostic look across all breed types of what type of beef bulls make the most sense to complement a Holstein female to add the most profitability to that terminal calf.
The Wholesome Index and resulting sires list was generated using powerful data provided by International Genetic Solutions and its feeder profit calculator, the industry leader in feeder cattle evaluation. Qualifying for the sire list is not easy, and bulls that do so represent an elite group of beef genetics.
Instead of just saying, I'm going to breed my Holstein to a black beef bull, they can say, I'm going to breed my Holstein to a Sim Angus bull that ranks high on the Wholesome Index. And by doing that, I know that we're going to get offspring that will be coveted both by the feedlot and the consumer.
We think with time, as we gain the confidence of the buyers, we'll put more money back in the pocket of commercial dairymen.
To view a list of Wholesome eligible bulls, visit HolsteinUSA.com or Simmental.org. For Holstein America, I'm Miles Ramsey.
Thanks, Miles. Though the dairy industry and much of agriculture has experienced tough times in recent years, there is still great opportunity in raising registered Holsteins. One example is Beer Farms of Indiana. The family business has weathered the market's ups and downs for more than a century and continually finds ways to add value with their herd of registered Holsteins.
No place else can you enjoy working with family like you work on the farm. When these kids grow up, they learn how to work together. There's a lot of lessons taught here, but you can't teach a lot of a book or anyplace else. My grandfather bought this farm in 1891. My father was born and raised on this farm. I was born and raised here. Our two boys were born and raised here. So it's a good, hard-working, seems to be honest neighborhood, and we've had a real good life here. So we've kind of ridden the economy up, and then through the rough times, you have to put away enough that you can survive and go on again. It seems we've been able to do that.
The family history here at Beer Farm started out with my great-grandfather. Came here, settled in, and rumor has it that he bought and sold horses, pigs, whatever he could. 10 years ago, there was a big group of Dutch dairies that came to this region, and when those dairies came to Indiana, we felt that there was a need to supply them with commercial cattle, and with our passion for the registered cow, we still wanted to continue to do that, so we just switched from a conventional Holstein dairy to a dairy that now supplies large dairies with registered commercial cattle.
Our main objective here, though, is to raise good cattle to supply to these big dairies. That's kind of our niche market. And calving these heifers in, getting them going is a job. It's a job a lot of the big dairies don't like to do. And a lot of them can't raise enough heifers of their own. So we kind of fell into calving these heifers and selling fresh heifers to these big dairies, and it's worked out very well for us.
We have a barn with about 1,000 heifers in it. We breed in a pen of 250. We currently have about 2,500 heifers on feed at all times, and we calve around 250 head a month. Once we have them fresh and in the milking line, in about 3 weeks fresh, they go to large dairies. Registered Holsteins are a good fit for our business. It goes back to having some paperwork, having some parentage, letting these guys that are buying these heifers know that they're getting a good product, and that way they can see the genetics, continue to not have inbreeding issues, and know that we're using the best bulls out there to supply them with their dairy.
There's nothing makes me happier than when you send a load of cattle to somebody and he calls up and says, gosh, they were really good, I'd like another load. That's what we strive to do.
Holstein cattle, to me, are all I ever knew growing up, so it's been a way of life for our family, and they've been a good breed and a good, healthy animal to be able to raise, and the genetics just keep getting better.
Genetically, today, if they have good feet and legs and good udders, it seems they can give the milk that they need to give. We just want good type heifers that can give a lot of milk.
The thing that we would want consumers to know about this farm is that we're trying to put a great product on their table, a clean, healthy product, and something that their family can enjoy, and something that they don't have to worry about whenever they pull it out of the fridge.
We still know that milk is a perfect food. We know that the registered Holstein cow has been the backbone of our farm here, and we have faith that it's going to continue. Things have evolved, things have changed in the business from 50 years ago, but I think we're still going in the right direction. Whether it be grain farming, milking cows, no matter what it is, agriculture isn't doing real good. But when you look at all the people in the world, they're going to have to eat, we're going to have to feed them, and I think in time that'll turn around again. We want to be ready when it does.
Milk is king in the Midwest, and there's no cow that can produce milk like a registered Holstein cow. It's the #1 breed of the dairy industry.
When we return, we'll head to the greatest spectacle in racing, the Indy 500, and see how milk from registered Holstein cows contributes to one of America's best traditions.
Merck Animal Health is proud to share stories from America's dairy farmers by sponsoring Holstein America. When every decision counts, trust Vista to help protect your herd against respiratory and reproductive diseases. See how Vista offers the industry's most complete protection at thebestdefense.com.
Welcome back. The Indianapolis 500 is home to one of America's greatest dairy traditions. It began in 1936 when Indy 500 winner Louis Meyer requested buttermilk to refresh himself at the end of the long, hot race. From then on, passing the milk bottle became the crowning moment at the Indy 500 and a point of pride for dairy farmers everywhere. We travel next to meet Indy 500 milkman Andrew Keenert and his family on their registered Holstein farm in northern Indiana.
Being a fifth-generation dairy farmer here is absolutely amazing that I got chosen to be the milkman. We get to go in really early during race day, and that's one of the things I really love the most, is seeing the whole racetrack come alive.
Rossi's going to have a massive draft on Simon Pagenaud into the home stretch, less than half a mile. Simon Pagenaud sweeps the month of May and wins his maiden Indy 500.
It's absolutely amazing that I get to be able to represent dairy and hand that ice cold glass of milk to the winning driver at the Indy 500. You know, dairy farmers are really lucky. Back in 1936, Louis Meyer started the tradition after he won. He requested some buttermilk. And ever since that moment, it's been absolutely tradition for milk to be involved with the Indy 500. I'm very proud to not only represent my family's dairy farm, but every dairy farm across the state of Indiana and even across the country and the world. And it's amazing how milk has become that iconic trophy for the victor at the Indy 500.
There's nothing like growing up on a dairy farm. Side by side with my brother Andrew and my father and my uncle and also my grandpa. It's something I wouldn't change for the world.
We've been blessed all these years, my brother and I, to make it work in our families, and we're proud of that. We really are. We put up all of our own feed, farm about 1,200 acres.
Right now we're milking about 300, all registered Holsteins. Through my lifetime, we have been 100% registered.
When I got out of high school, I kind of realized if I'm going to be in the dairy business, I wanted to work with registered Holstein cattle, that is for sure. And so we started purchasing some cows and been trying to improve the genetics every year since. Holstein's in our blood and always will be.
The registered Holsteins has been a big part of our life just because it helps us to constantly keep thriving and improve on the next generation.
And there's no other dairy breed that can consistently compete with the modern Holstein cow.
It has really been encouraging and fulfilling to have this next generation step up to the plate. And once they came back, they've helped take on Keener Dairy to the next level.
So about 5 years ago, we installed robotic milkers here on our dairy farm. Before that, we used a double six parlor. We were milking those cows 3 times a day, and it was taking us almost 18, 19 hours a day to milk. And since we put those robots in, it's been absolutely amazing how the cow health and temper of the cows has been much better.
So the robots have really changed the way that we manage our cows. Cows are able to come and go in the robots as they please, and there's really no wait time for them. We've picked up almost 20% on milk production, and it's just, for us, it's worked. We've also recently introduced robotic calf feeders for our new calf barn, and we really believe in technology.
We do feed a lot of different ingredients, so one of the most unique components in our ration is a fruit and vegetable waste product. It's actually brought in from the local grocery stores when it goes a day past the sell-by date, so we actually mix that back in for the cows. So we try to reuse everything we can and get local food and a lot of good groceries for the cows to make milk.
Having genomics available to us now, we can use young bulls and greatly increase our fat and protein percentages in one generation and do it quickly.
Our components have been increasing with good feed and good management, so as far as the milk, fat, protein production, we couldn't be any happier.
We truly believe that the Holstein cow is the most economical and efficient breed of cattle that there is. And we just enjoy being around them.
So our Fall Festival is a 7-week event where we open the farm up to the public, and we've been doing it for 6 years now.
We welcome the public to the festival, show them our dairy farm, show them what we do on a daily basis, how we take care of the cows, and just provide a unique experience for families to see where their milk comes from.
In the first year, we were just under 10,000 people, and last year we were over 26,000 people. So we continue to grow. It's one of our main goals is, yes, we want to educate, we want to share our story, we want to build a relationship. But all of that tying together is we want you to create your own memories with your family here on this farm.
We hope that people have a little different appreciation for milk and what it takes to produce it, the amount of steps we take to make sure it is clean and pure. We want people to see that.
And I just always believe there's going to be a demand for high quality milk, good tasting milk, and that's what we're striving to do.
Nothing satisfies like a cold glass of milk, the most nutritious, natural protein drink on earth. If you'd like to learn more about registered Holsteins, visit HolsteinUSA.com. On behalf of America's registered Holstein breeders, thanks for watching Holstein America. I'm Michelle Davidson.